Good day Zimbabwe, good day Hwange. Welcome again on this episode of Hwange Chronicles, where today I'm together with Mr. Chikumba, the Director of Transparency International. I am Ambassador Makomborero, your host here on this episode. Today I'm going to tell you more about the Chapter 13 Commission together with Mr. Chikumba, where he is going to explain what he is doing with Transparency International Zimbabwe. Mr. Chikumba, good day. How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome to Hwange Chronicles. On this episode, I want you to introduce yourself briefly. Tell us more about Transparency International Zimbabwe.
Okay, so Transparency International Zimbabwe is a non-profit, non-partisan organization that champions the work on transparency, accountability, and integrity in Zimbabwe. Our main focus is in ensuring that we prevent corruption and combat corruption in our country. We do have a specific vision, which is to ensure that we envisage a Zimbabwe free from all forms and practices of corruption. You might think that this is not possible, but we feel that if we exert pressure, especially on our government, and build a culture of integrity in our country, we can actually achieve that. So we are part of a global movement against corruption, which is Transparency International, operating in over 125 countries. And our specific role is to ensure that we build systems of integrity, especially around anti-corruption agencies, including the Zimbabwean Anti-Corruption Commission in our case, the National Prosecuting Authority, and any other anti-corruption agents in our country. But of course, our major responsibility is in also ensuring that we build a strong citizen agents to hold power to account, because when citizens are fully empowered to hold power to account, they should be able to interrogate government institutions, especially in terms of the use of public resources, and take action on those.
Wow, this is great. As Hwange tinonzwa kukomborerwa ende tiri kuzwa kufara, tatsikwa nevanhu vakuru. Makaona maprograms akadai so akuya kunzvimbo dzedu seHwange. Kunoku kwatinenge takaraswa, tiri kufara kuita ndizvo. No, vana veHwange, mayouth eHwange no hatina kuraswa. Here are the organizations that are trying to fight, combat corruption here in this society. So ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to know is kuti tine inonzi Transparency International Zimbabwe. Amazwa yanga ichitaura nezvayo, aims ayo, mandates, the missions and all that. So I'm going to ask you my first question, Mr. Chikumba. My first question is, tell us more about the Chapter 13 Commission. What are they doing? What do they do? What are they mandated to do according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe?
So in the work that we do in the fight against corruption, we do recognize that the government of Zimbabwe, through our constitution, specifically in Chapter 13 of our constitution, specifies the responsibilities of two institutions that are mandated to fight corruption in our country. One of them is the Zimbabwean Anti-Corruption Commission, and also the National Prosecuting Authority. And as you might be aware, the Zimbabwean Anti-Corruption Commission is mandated to investigate cases of corruption. They also have a responsibility to arrest corrupt individuals. They also have a responsibility to ensure that they follow up on assets that would have been gained by the corrupt individuals, so they can confiscate assets, those assets that are in our country, and some of those which might also have been stashed in other jurisdictions. And of course, we do have the National Prosecuting Authority, and Chapter 13 of the Constitution establishes the National Prosecuting Authority, which is headed by the National Public Prosecutor, and their specific role is to prosecute specific cases of corruption. And these institutions, they don't work in silos. They have to ensure that the Zimbabwean Anti-Corruption Commission, once they are done with the investigations, they take their specific dockets to the National Prosecuting Authority, which docket they will use to prosecute the specific cases of corruption. So I want to emphasize that one of the responsibilities of the Zimbabwean Anti-Corruption Commission is to ensure that there is coordination among anti-corruption institutions, which includes the National Prosecuting Authority that I've mentioned, the Zimbabwean Public Police, the Financial Intelligence Unit, the Asset Management Unit, and the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority. So they do have a broader mandate notwithstanding the fact that fighting corruption is something that should not be limited to those particular institutions where we find civil society and other entities coming together to support them.
Wow, that's great. And tasingatombozene zvazvo isusu mayouth but taita laki rekuti nezvo nhasi tatidzidziswa nezveZimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission neNPA. So my next question, ndinongonzwawo mumastreets umu kuti kune chinhu chinonzi whistleblower protection bill hanzi richiri muparliament hasati rapasiswa. Nokupirawo kuti mumboudzawo mayouth, what does this bill encompass of? What does it really encompass of? Kuitira kuti isusu kana takuendawo kumayouth takuti mayouth, let's petition the parliament because it's our right to petition the parliament kuti mabhill akaita seaya kuti tichengetedzwe kuti tifile safe patichi report on corruption nechichichi. What does it encompass? May you please tell us a brief about the whistleblower protection?
Okay, so what we have observed in our work in the fight against corruption is that we don't have a culture where people report corruption in their communities, but in our research we also established that the main reason why people don't report corruption is because there is no protection for reporting persons, which is commonly known as whistleblower. And in Zimbabwe, we know that there are current efforts to ensure that we come up with that particular legislation, which is provided for in the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, the SADC Protocol Against Corruption, and also the African Union Convention on Prevention and Combating Corruption. So those specific pieces of legislation mandates member states to ensure that they come up with protection mechanisms for whistleblowers. And as such, the government responded, and so far we have had the whistleblower protection principles adopted in cabinet, where the cabinet had to adopt the specific provisions which should be covered within that particular piece of legislation. And in essence, once principles are adopted by cabinet, the Minister of Justice should activate the drafting of that particular piece of legislation through the Attorney General's office, which piece of legislation has to go through Parliament for reviews and discussion, and also in consultation with the public for it to become law. So that process ended when the government announced the principles having been adopted. And of course, the civil society we have been pushing for the government to expedite that particular process. And I can safely report that the various government departments that are responsible for protection of whistleblowers came up with a draft law, which law should be subjected to the Law Development Commission and the Ministry of Justice and the Attorney General for them to review before it is considered by Parliament.
Okay, thank you, sir. This is such great insight, and we see that the civil society is playing a vital role, a pivotal role in pushing some of these laws into law. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a short break, a commercial break, and stay tuned. More as we come back, we will discuss more about the auditor's report, the mandate, and what is currently happening here at the campsite.
And I like to promote professional to be
professional. Takana tirachirungu. Takana imani na jema. Sadare. Saka chipoka kasampo kuti mudare mimi. Nonyaso good.
Yaman. Nyika yapinduka ziki yapindira retira vanhu tavhiringika chichaitika tisati tavhiringika chichaitika tisati tazvinini pisa. Yo. Team okay vakushanda neziki hona pakutenga ndakuzadza matroli truly I mean it kunza kana Troy shandisa zigi kusasaidere bastone sakuidza mareti zisina kana brainco zigi yakushanda from place to space chero pakufamba ndakubhadhara mazigi chero iri rent ndichabhadhara mazigi asingade zigi hana kana diri hambonyora wiri kana kumbobata skiri kuti zigi ine mbiri zigi ine value yo
Welcome again, Hwange Chronicles here with Ambassador Marco, and today I'm hosting Mr. Chikumba, the Director of Transparency International Zimbabwe. Say welcome back. So my next question is about the auditor's report, which was released in June. As we were discussing, we saw that in the auditor's report there were many misappropriated funds, the COVID funds in the tertiary institutions, the funds in different ministries. What is your perspective onto this auditor's report?
Okay, so as Transparency International Zimbabwe, we have been following the reports from the Auditor General's office. What we have noted is that there are specific issues which are quite recurrent. They recur every year, they talk about the same issues. And what is worrying is that most of the recommendations that comes out of the Auditor General's report, they are not implemented. Either by local authorities, by state-owned enterprises, or government ministries and departments. So it's something which is quite worrying for us, and we do feel that the government should be very deliberate in terms of ensuring that the recommendations that comes out of the Auditor General are implemented. And one of the most recurring issues that comes out in that report are issues of payment of goods and services which are never delivered. And this has happened for many years. And what is worrying is that some of these private companies or suppliers of goods and services, they are the same companies that fail one institution and possibly okay in the next preceding year, dealing with a different institution. And you realize that there is no appetite to address some of these recommendations. And we strongly feel that these ministries and state-owned enterprises, they sometimes same type of institutions are named, and their reports are sometimes adverse, which is a cause for concern for us as Transparency International, because the Auditor General's report is not an anti-corruption report. Our expectation is that a report that identifies specific gaps and loopholes in our own systems as Zimbabwe is used to ensure that the same systems are strengthened for the betterment of our country, especially in terms of strengthening the public finance management systems. And of course, those institutions are then able to provide goods and services, especially public services, to the people, because some of the money is not used to appropriate, and some of the resources are actually benefiting individuals at the expense of the public.
Okay, wow. This is such a great concern, sir, because even looking at the auditor's report, I was looking at institutions like the Zimbabwe Youth Council, which goes about 3 or 4 years with an acting position of a director and all that. Which are some of the problems that we need to solve as youth? But well, we'll not divert into that today. I want to give a special shout out and thanks to Transparency International for hosting an anti-corruption youth retreat here at Hwange National Park, which is currently running, which started on the 17th and it will end on the 20th, where they are educating the youth of Hwange from Vic Falls, Hwange, Lupane, where we have a wide range of youth who are sharing ideas, and it is such a great initiative that we are seeing that you are doing. So I really want to give you a shout out, and I really want to tell you that we appreciate you as Hwange. As Hwange youth, we never thought such things would happen to us, but well, we have people from different backgrounds here. We have people even with disabilities with us here, which is something that is great, and it's gender balanced, and well, this is such a great thing. So in your closing remarks, may you please give a conclusion in a few seconds. Shout out to your partners, shout out to everyone who you are working with.
Okay, so this particular or great work that you've mentioned on the youth anti-corruption retreat we are doing, is a program that we have been doing for about 6 provinces in our country, which includes Harare, Bulawayo, Manicaland, Midlands, Mat South and Mat North. Here we are. This particular program is supported by the USAID with implementing partners, Zimbabwe Coalition on Data Development, Youth Empowerment and Transformation Trust, and the Southern African Parliamentary Support Trust. So these institutions are coming together to ensure that we build a strong youth agency that is able to hold duty bearers to account, especially at the local level. As you have said in our Auditor General's report, most of the resources that are misappropriated are the resources that are meant for service provision, especially at local level. And most of our conversations have been centered around central government use and abuse of resources. But this particular project focuses on ensuring that we strengthen young people. We also strengthen these particular local authorities to ensure that they work and operate in a transparent, accountable, and exercise integrity in their day-to-day.
Wow, that's great, and thank you, sir, for such a conclusion. And well, what I want to tell you today, Hwange Youth, we are coming. We are going to be educating you more. More episodes are going to come, more interviews are going to come, where we are going to interview different individuals, different organizations that are with us here at the Hwange National Park main camp, being hosted by Transparency International Zimbabwe. I am Ambassador Makomborero Lawrence Sivangani, and I am with Hwange Chronicles. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share our videos. Signing out. Thank you.
Talk to me.